gives you two confidence that Trey Lance is ready to take over as the starting quarterback if that's the route you choose to take?
Just being around him all year. I thought he had the ability we saw in college. We know it was at a different level. We know we were very limited on the amount he got to play, especially missing the last year of COVID. So you got to go off what you see on tape and believing in the person, and we did. Having him here for a whole year, I feel stronger about that. He's got the ability to do it. He's got the mind to do it. And I think he's the type of person who can handle all the stuff that goes with it.
Yeah, I would just echo that. He is who we thought he was, and probably even stronger. You have to have a lot to you. You got to have a lot of substance to play quarterback in this league, both physically and from just a who you are standpoint. And I think Trey checks both those boxes. And what is the things that Kyle and his staff have identified for Trey on things to work with. This guy's focus, his work ethic, he'll have a plan, and it will be a comprehensive one. And and when you have the talent and you have that ability, and then I think what he showed me is that in the moments, and there were few, but he had an opportunity to go play. I saw that competitive greatness that you look for in people who are going to lead your organization. And so even though we saw it, however brief it was, I saw it. And so it gives me a lot of belief that it's there, and that he's exactly who we thought he was when we picked him. And we're really excited about that.
I'm just going to start right off with a Jimmy Garoppolo question. I'm assuming both of you have met with him after the season, after the final game. And what promises have you given him? What's going to be your approach as it pertains to how you're going to handle his situation?
Yeah, I think, Matt, from being around this business, that the finality of this thing, I think we're all creatures of habit, and no one wants to face the reality that this thing may be ended. And so you kind of put things like that off after a season. And man, this was a ride that had so many different turns in it. And it was, I think it was special just to be able to sit down with Jimmy and let him know how appreciative we are as an organization of the way he handled everything, the way he played, the toughness that he exhibited, and just express my admiration for him and the way he handled everything, this season and during his time with us. And the commitment was just that we're going to communicate as we always have, and we're going to be completely upfront and honest, and that Kyle and I, right now it's evaluation stage, and while we talk all the time, again, the season just ended, and so we've got a lot to think about, and with our team in general, and certainly at that position, and the commitment was just that everything we do will be communicated in a very straightforward manner, as I think we've always done with him.
Answer too.
Yeah,
that was so good, man. No, I mean, same as John. Like if we knew exactly what was happening, we would have told Jimmy. But this season just ended, and we got a great young quarterback who was a rookie, and we have a great quarterback here who's a veteran. And we've had Jimmy here for 5 years, and he's got to play in 2 of those seasons fully. And before this year was only 1 out of 4 years, and that was our big worry going into it, that we could not go into another year where he didn't make it through. And he only missed 1 game this year, and in the 2 years he's played, he's taken us to a Super Bowl, and he's taken us really close in the NFC Championship game. So I got the ultimate respect for Jimmy, and I'm very excited about Trey. And that's where we're at right now. I mean, Jimmy's made it a lot harder because he stayed healthy, and he played like he is capable of playing, which is, to me, one of the better quarterbacks in this league. So we're in a tough situation, or not a tough situation. You're in a situation where you got to make some tough decisions. That won't be easy, but I'm happy about that. That means you got the best scenario going, and that's why we got to put a lot of thought into this. And John and I talking to Jed and everything, and Jimmy will know everything as we go.
A couple of follow-ups on Jimmy. I know you said you're just starting to dig into it. How important is it, though, to get resolution on that quickly, just so that you can kind of plan out your offseason financially and all those things? And also, given your respect that you guys both talked about for him, how much will you let him kind of maybe be involved in the process in terms of maybe where he lands if you go that way?
Yeah. I think we've talked about this before. Kyle and I, there's always ongoing conversations, but Kyle's got a job to lead a team during a season. So it's hard to really wrap your arms about big decisions until we have those opportunities. And so now that starts. And the way the league year is structured and stuff, there is some time. Obviously, that will start in earnest right away. And it's not like we've been pushing it aside. It's just that I think one thing we both feel incredibly fortunate that we have an ownership group that, for instance, last year when we presented that idea, I think a lot of ownership groups would have laughed in our face. Hey, we got this idea. We want to make a trade to move up to here, but we'd also like to keep our starter at a relatively high number. And instead, it was Jed said, hey, do you feel like it's the right deal? Can we do it? Have you run through all those scenarios? And the answer was yes. And so I think now we need that time to really start focusing, on the implications of every move that we might make. And that will start right away.
Yeah. I mean, the way Jimmy played, the way our owner is, the way Jimmy's contract is. I mean, it's not like there's a big guarantee next week. And we don't have an owner who, from what he just said, is going to just say, hey, no, you got to do this because of A, B, and C. It's pretty simple with Jed. He wants to do whatever's best for this team. And when you have a quarterback who played like Jimmy did last year, we have a young guy on our waiting to eventually get an opportunity. There's a lot of good options there. And that's why all cards are on the table. And it's cool that we're in a place where all cards can be on the table, because usually they're not in that situation. And that's why we're going to make sure to try to make the best decision for this team, which is always still an educated guess, because you'll see the results after it happens. But we're not going to be any rush to do that because we want to make sure to get it right.
I got two questions. So one is going to be quarterback, about Trey Lance, and Kyle, what your kind of directive is for him in the offseason.
I'll go, with Trey, he needs to take a couple weeks off. He's been going since, pre-draft stuff, getting ready for the combine and all that stuff. So Trey's going to take a couple weeks off and then can go down to Southern California, work with some guys throwing the ball, isolate on that, just throwing motion, working on that all the time, which I'd say 80% of the quarterbacks in this league do that. It'll be real good for Trey to kind of get away from us and just focus on those things. And we'll be in touch through the whole thing, and we'll get him back here and start talking X's and O's and scheme and footwork and things like that, just preparing them for hopefully to have a good phase 1, 2, and 3 of OTAs.
Yeah. Trey Lance question. What do you think you learned about him this season specifically? Maybe where did he improve the most? And did you ever think about getting him in there for 2, 4, 6 plays, even at the end of the season?
I think what I learned the most about Trey is I learned that he was the person that we were banking on him being. I mean, when you go through a draft process, and especially the COVID rules we had where you weren't allowed to really be with someone in person, you were allowed to watch them at a distance from a pro day. You're allowed to have Zooms and talk to them. And so we got to put a lot of time into that stuff. So I felt like we really had a good feel of who he was. But I mean, you never know until you really get with someone, and just being with him this whole year. He's the good person, the good human that we thought. He has the work ethic we thought. He's as smart as we thought. He's got a natural charisma to him that I believe is a leader. And he's kind of the baby on the team this year, just in terms of his age and stuff like that. But he has a presence to him that people will gravitate to when he has that position. Stuff I thought he learned the most of was, this was his first time playing in almost 2 years. And we asked him to do a lot of different things. And, just watching him play in the pocket, watching him work on play actions and stuff that he didn't get as much to do in college. He had never done a 7-step drop before, which is how a lot of play actions are. He'd always done 5, and trying to mess with his feet and timing of all different types of plays. I thought it was great for him. It was a great experience for him. And I think it was good that he could kind of sit back and watch all that and not get forced into stuff where he's learning it and doing it for the first time at full speed on versus NFL defenses, because it's a lot harder. But yeah, towards the end of the year, I never thought about just trying to get him in, because I knew that was about to come. I mean, when we were at 3-5, that was kind of the breaking point where I knew it was getting close. I know everyone else thought it was there, when I agreed, it was getting close to there. But once we won that game and went to 4-5 and ended up winning 4 in a row, I thought we had a chance. And when you're doing that, you don't want to mess with the team. If I would have done it for strategic reasons, if I thought it helped, but I wasn't going to do it just to help Trey get 4 to 6 plays and ease him in at that time, because that's not what we were thinking about at that time. We were thinking about how we could get our team to the playoffs. And once we got to the playoffs, we were thinking how we could win each game, because we knew only one team was going to be happy at the end. And we're not that happy.
Hey guys, was there any point where you were, was there any doubt in your mind that this situation would work? Because obviously from our angle, there's questions over whether it's tenable to, bring Trey into this situation and dynamics. So I guess what was your level of confidence going in that it would work, and why were you confident?
My level is you just try to make football decisions, and when you do something that you don't have the exact answer to, and you can't tell everybody this is what we did, so we're going to cut this or do, and just make it very simple. We wanted to do what's best for the Niners. And sometimes you're forced to make a decision, whether that's because of a salary cap reason, contracts, an owner, and then you do, but none of those situations forced our hand. So we truly wanted to let it play out. And you're confident because of the building you're in, the people you're with. It's when, dealing with John, and a guy who's not going to just come and as soon as something goes bad, tell me the opposite. Which you deal with a lot in this league. Same with the owner. So yeah, you have confidence you can pull it off because of the people. But you're going to only pull it off from perception standpoint if you win, and if you lose, you're not. So like you understand the reality of that. I'm not mad at anyone for that, but I also understand that's not the reality of what happens. I mean, you got to do a lot of stuff that goes into winning, and usually whether you win or lose, the head coach, the GM, the quarterback. I mean, those are the things, and the coordinators, those are the things that are going to get evaluated very hard. But there's so much that goes into it, and you're just trying to make the best decisions as consistently as you can to give yourself the best chance to win football games. And that's why and I talked about a lot, that's why I like being here, because I feel out of any place I've ever been, that's never an issue. I always feel like we can do that 100%. Doesn't mean you're always going to be right, but when you work at it and you got good people, talented people, I feel like you're right the majority of the time. And the more you can stack that up, I feel we got a better chance to continue to have a winning team and eventually get to what our only goal is, and that's winning the championship.
Yeah, it's a great answer. And I think really what Kyle hit on, it's trust. Trust is earned in life. Trust is certainly earned in this league. And I think the trust, the equity that we had put in with Jimmy, with his representatives, and frankly, the way that both sides have communicated and been nothing but completely upfront. And then I would point to, I think Jimmy Garoppolo deserves a ton of credit because, the way he handled the situation, and I said it to the team yesterday, that the way not only he went about competing and making that, competition brings out the best in everyone. It certainly did with Jimmy, but the way he also welcomed Trey and helped them along the way, it was a really nice thing to see. And I think it speaks volumes of who he is. Trey's obviously, they're both very similar in that they're both Midwest guys who kind of have Midwest values. They're good people. And that showed itself. And I think was a great example for our team that you can compete at the highest levels, but still, all be working for the same goal. And that was especially true. And so real proud of the organization and those individuals and for pulling it off.
Following up on that somewhat, Trey told us yesterday that Jimmy will be one of his best friends for the rest of his life. How did you see that relationship develop from the beginning of the offseason program to the end of the season?
They were always, they're respectful guys. So then you knew how they would act when they met. Like neither of them are going to be the immature one who knows that they're competing against. They know that they're competitive as can be, but they're always respectful. And then when you start like that, and I think you're in a decent environment and you are the type of people that John was just saying, it just grew. You can't, I believe Trey when he says that. It sounds like a 21-year-old comment. And I know he means it. And I think Jimmy feels the same. Like I've been in a bunch of good quarterback rooms. I've been in some bad ones. But I can't think of one that was better than this. From those two to Nate, to Rich, to Bobby, myself in there a bunch. Like it was a really genuine, cool room where guys we enjoyed each other. we were done with football, the meeting didn't always just end. Sometimes we just sit there and hang out. And that was genuine. So what Trey said, he meant. And I know Jimmy feels the same way. And that's one of the reasons we're able to do something like this.